before. Khaybar sealed its gates and closed off the court. Who needs peace when Haydar is lifting the door? So tell Khaybar, we have their master key. Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali.
Let's hear your voices. This is the day of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Ali, Ali, Mawla. Ali, Ali, Mawla. Mawlana Ali, 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 Mawla. Mawlana Ali, Ali, Ali. Mawla. Mawlana Ali, 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 Mawla. Mawlana. Oh, the judge for Jannah. Mawlana Ali, oh drinker of Kawthar, oh drinker of Kawthar, louder, oh drinker of Kawthar, oh husband of Zahra, oh husband of Zahra, oh Ali, Ali, Mawla, Mawlana Ali, 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 Mawla, Mawlana Ali, 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 Mawla. نحبات خيبر مولانا أمير حيدر نحبات خيبر أمير حيدر ابن عم الرسول ابن عم الرسول علي علي مولا مولانا علي 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 مولا مولا أو علي علي مولا مولانا علي 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 مولا. Number one and not four, Mawlana Ali, of this fact I am sure. Number one and not four, of this fact I am sure. Mawlana Ali, 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 Mawla, Mawlana Ali, 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 Mawla. Ali, 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 This lion was failed to describe, he who was always by my side, he who is the walking Quran, for each verse describes this great man. Ali, 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 تجد عونا لك في النوائب كل هم وغم سينجلي كل هم وغم
سينجلي بعظمتك بعظمتك يا الله بنبوتك محمد بولايتك علي 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 يا علي يا علي أدركني يا علي يا علي أدركني يا علي يا علي أدركني
Allah.
Sorry, I'm just gonna cake cutting now or? You sure?
Yeah, after.
So we'll come back here after the cake, yeah?
Yeah, inshallah.
Okay, who's cutting the cake? Yes, sure. Say it. Sunnah. Sunnah, yes.
No, we're gonna do after. Yeah, after, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Muhammad. Bismillah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
I would now like to invite Mulana Sayyid Muslim Shah to stage please. Salawat.
Put the mic in the mic. Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا بالقاسم مصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعن الله على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى يوم القيامة رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أما بعد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتاب مبين هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says, are those who know equal to those who do not know? Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, it's a great honor to be amongst you on this auspicious occasion, on the celebration of the birth of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. And these few words that we share together on this joyous occasion are in dedication to Imam Ali alayhi salam, and inshallah amongst all of the distinctions mentioned by all of the poetry, all of the poets that we've heard today, what we want to do is take some lesson with us. Because the mu'mineen that are gathered, mu'mineen that are here, who've heard these praises of our beloved Imam, we want to take something with us that we can actually join ourselves with our beloved Imam. We want to see what it is that we should be doing so that we can really call ourselves the lovers of Amir al-Mu'mineen. First and foremost, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam has said, he reminds us that there are some things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen. There's some things which are selected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over other things. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen the Kaaba amongst all the places on earth. We know there are some really distinguished places upon earth, but the foremost of them all is the Kaaba. And we're getting this from the Ahl al-Bayt. The Kaaba is a very prestigious and special place for all of the Muslims. In another hadith, the Imam says that whoever comes to the Kaaba and recognizes, one salawat please. It is said that one who comes to the Kaaba and recognizes the rights and the holiness of the Kaaba, his sins will be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, mashallah, mostly I heard all of the poets and reciters, they mention the Kaaba in their poetry. What significance does this place have? It is our Qibla. It is the place that everybody turns to in every namaz that we pray. It is the place that we visit for Hajj. There are many other qualities of this place. Many of the prophets have visited this place. The significance of this place is great. Now on the auspicious birth of Imam Ali alayhi salam, on the 13th day of Rajab, in the 30th year of the elephant, over 1400 years ago, Imam Ali alayhi salam, the cousin of the Prophet peace be upon him, and the Prophet is around 30 years old at this time. Imam Ali alayhi salam's parents, Hazrat Abu Talib and Fatima bint Asad, they are blessed with the birth of a child. It is their fourth son, and what a distinction that no other has seen. Throughout the history of mankind, the only person, the first and the last person to be born inside the house of Allah, Imam Ali alayhi salam. Brothers and sisters, in that time, we saw that the pagan ways, we saw what the people of that era were doing. What they would do is when a child was born, then they would take it to the idol of their tribe, and they would dedicate that child to this pagan deity or this pagan god that they would have. But not in this case. In this case, when Imam Ali alayhi salam is born, the first person he sees is the Prophet peace be upon him. And not only this, that when Prophet peace be upon him takes his baby into his arms, he dedicates this baby in the servitude of Islam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only this, I mentioned that Imam Ali alayhi salam, the youngest of four brothers, Hazrat Talib, Aqil and Jafar. But when Imam Ali alayhi salam reaches the tender age of 5 years old, then he is adopted by the Prophet peace be upon him. So not only is he born in this miraculous way, but now at the age of 5, he's taken into the house of the Prophet. So now there is some discussion. So it's slightly, we'll go slightly to a tangent. The discussion is that why is it that the Prophet had adopted this young boy, not the other cousins, not other people, but he adopted this individual specifically. That many a time we hear that the Prophet had this affinity to this cousin in particular, and it's actually a famine. There was a famine in that time, and people were really in destitution. So the Prophet came forward and he said, okay, I will take Imam Ali and I will adopt him and he'll be living with me. This is one view, probably the weakest view. The second view is that the Prophet peace upon him and his wife Bibi Khadija had lost 2 boys, and the second view is saying that to fill that void in their heart or in their life, that they wanted to adopt this young child of age 5. And the third, which is the strongest of the three opinions, is that he was taken in the same way at birth that he was presented in the servitude of Islam, that he was taken into the house of the Prophet in order to educate him, in order to groom him to that great destiny that awaited him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, became Imam Ali alayhi salam's guide, his teacher, and his instructor. One of the magnificent things about Imam Ali alayhi salam is that from amongst all of the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, we see that he is the only one whose whole life is under the spotlight of history. His whole life, from birth to death, everything. We see that no part of his life is hidden from us, whether it's from his infancy, his youth, his adulthood, or even his old age. We see his education, his marriage, his leadership, his battles, his death. Nothing is hidden from history. However, some of the other companions, on the other hand, history only pays attention to them, if at all. History only pays attention to them when they enter the fold of Islam. Some of them we know, very senior in age. They take pride in this, they're senior in age. So we know nothing. Senior in age means living in that era, God knows what they were doing. But Imam Ali alayhi salam, his whole life and his death is under the spotlight of history. We don't see that in any other character after the Prophet. And we see friends and foes have never been able to find any weakness in the faith of Imam Ali alayhi salam. But the others are testifying themselves, I never doubted you except for now. Not even the enemies of Imam Ali alayhi salam could say anything about his faith. Nor has anyone been able to find any weakness in his bravery, in his piety, in his knowledge, in his justice, in his ethics. He possessed nothing but virtue and perfection. This is Imam Ali alayhi salam. But this elevated personality, in practical terms, in real life, how was he with the people? He lived a simple life, a very simple life. Whether it was during the time of the Prophet, whether it was after the demise of the Prophet, peace be upon him, or even during his own leadership, when he was the leader of the Muslim Ummah, all of those times, Imam Ali alayhi salam lived a very humble and simple life, just like the poor. And he would say that the ruler of society should live in such a way that he is the source of consolation of the needy and distressed, and not the cause of regret and disappointment. So this is a good lesson for us. There's a couple of points here. One is that us, as the followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen, we should live a simple life. Now some people are taking this to the extremes. Sometimes we hear some of the sisters complaining. This happened in the time of the Imams also, and the Prophet also. People came to Amir al-Mu'mineen, they said, the ladies complained that our husbands are not treating us right, they're just worshipping all the time, they're not doing anything, they don't dress well, they don't take care of themselves. So the Imam discouraged this. Here it's saying the ruler of a society should behave in such a way that you, as individuals, are the heads of families. You have children to take care of, you have wives to take care of, you have to treat them in an appropriate way. So often when I mention this hadith, I have to mention this as a side note. The Imam, he helped the poor and poverty-stricken. He was always kind to the widows, and he sheltered the orphans. He sheltered them in his own house. In the same way that the Prophet nurtured him and educated him, he would do the same to the orphans of that era. He would fulfill their requirements, and he would ensure that they were educated. Another side note is that a child has several rights over his father. One of them is a good name, one of them is a good education, and one of them is a good spouse. So we want to adhere to these sorts of ideas that Islam is giving to us. Sometimes we have to look at the life of our great personalities to reflect those in our own lives. We need to implement that even though we are far from the Muslim lands, we have to implement all of that here. Now I had to pick out a few stories from the battles because Imam Ali alayhi salam is known for his courage and bravery, and it starts in every single battle that he took part in. Imam destroyed every single rival that he had in every battle that he partook in. He never refrained and took a step back from combating with the enemy. Some of them, as we know, they ran away. There's verses about them. He said, if the whole of Arabia rises up in opposition and combats me, I will not lose my courage and will not fear anything. Because he's showing us that his fear is he only fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's nothing else on this world which is worth fearing. If we look at the history of all of the brave men throughout time, you will never find an equal to Imam Ali alayhi salam in bravery and in valor. Never. We've seen all the books. Nothing there. On the one hand, he's a courageous and ferocious warrior, but he is also compassionate. And we even see his compassion on the battlefield. So his kindness, his generosity, I can see in this example, that first and foremost, he wouldn't kill those people who were weak. Those people who were running away from the battle, Imam never chased them down. So it's normally face to face. This is how they would fight. In the Battle of Siffin, Muawiyah's army comes and occupies. They came and occupied the river Euphrates. They block the access from Imam alayhi salam's army to the water. We see this trickery many a time in our history. Same trick. Now, after a fierce and bloody battle, Imam Ali alayhi salam's troops are victorious and they take the water, they take the river. But in return, when they take control, they give access to the enemies to come and take the water. We see the compassion. So on the one hand, firm, courageous. On the other hand, they are compassionate and kind, because even though they are face to face with the enemies are still creatures of God, and still the respect is given there as fellow human beings, unlike what we see with the treatment of the grandson of the Prophet. Another example we see from the same battle, also in Siffin, when the battle is roaring and is blood gushing in every direction, we see a soldier presents Imam Ali alayhi salam a bowl of water. So I suspect, doesn't mention, but I suspect that if the battle is roaring like this, the Imam is at the forefront and the soldier comes and gives him some water. When the Imam looks at this vessel, he says that drinking water in this bowl is, in this cracked bowl is makruh, it's cracked. So the soldier replies, this is no time to be so meticulous when we're being showered with arrows and there are thousands of flashing swords ahead of us. So is this the time to be talking about these? This is makruh. I can't drink from this. The Imam Ali alayhi salam says that we are fighting to implement such Islamic concepts. This is the reason why we are fighting, to establish the firm concepts of Islam. What is haram, what is halal, what is makruh, what is mustahab, what is mubah. This is the reason why Imam's on the battlefield. There's nothing else to it. And he says that as far as the rules are concerned, there's no large or small rules. Everything is essential for us. So this is pointing to one more element, which is knowledge. That Imam Ali alayhi salam had the highest regard for knowledge, and learning, and he promoted education. We heard that even the orphans that he took care of in his house, he would be responsible for educating them. This is a responsibility of every parent in this room. All of the parents are responsible for the education of their children. He used to say that there is no suffering like ignorance. Brothers and sisters, we are the followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen al-Islam. And for us, ignorance is poison. We have to educate ourselves. Again, an example from another battle. Forgive me for having all the examples from the battle today. During the Battle of Jamal, when Imam was making arrangements of the troop formations, a man asked Imam Ali alayhi salam the meaning of Tawheed. When you go to madrasa, all of the young brothers and sisters, first thing they teach you in Aqaid is Tawheed. Why? Because Tawheed is the cornerstone of our understanding and our belief system. If your Tawheed is strong, everything is easy for you. Everything is easy. So we focus a lot on Tawheed. This special question comes up where? In the middle of the battle. So now the other people around him, it's fine, it's not cracked. So now all the people around him, this man who asked the question, can you tell me about Tawheed? They're criticizing him because they think it's an inappropriate time for asking such a question, to open such a discussion, even though they know that Imam will answer. But again, Imam says that we are fighting in order to revive such truths. This is the whole purpose of us being on the battlefield. And then he eloquently answered this individual's question on the battlefield. So brothers and sisters, after the Prophet, peace be upon him, Imam Ali alayhi salam, this is talking about his philosophical side or his intellectual side, that after the Prophet, peace be upon him, Imam Ali alayhi salam is the first to talk about scientific realities through philosophical means, through intellectual means. So before that, in the pagan ways where people were illiterate, they didn't have the tools, they didn't have intellectual tools to be able to have a discourse on any matters. But what we see is that Imam Ali alayhi salam is using philosophical methods, he's using intellectual methods. He coined many scientific terms. In the era that we live in, they pride themselves in science and technology. We as Muslims, we love science. Why? Because everything points to Tawheed. Everything points back to the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Imam Ali alayhi salam coined many scientific terms, and in order to safeguard the Holy Quran from errors and from mutilation, Imam Ali alayhi salam formulates and arranges rules of Arabic grammar that we still study in the Hawza today. Imam Ali alayhi salam, forefront of science, technology, grammar, literature, and so on. Numerous scientific intricacies, divine knowledge, ethical, social, and political matters, and even mathematics. One of the brothers, I was asking him earlier, Mahdi, he likes mathematics. MashaAllah. Imam Ali alayhi salam also at the forefront of some of the mathematical ideas, and we see these concepts made available through his letters, through his lectures, and through his sayings. We see that Imam Ali alayhi salam's lectures and his letters, they testify that amongst all of the Muslims, that Imam Ali alayhi salam is the one who is most familiar with the sublime aims of the Holy Quran. There are a lot of other Muslims, there was a lot of other Mufassir and people who are copying the Quran and so on. But through Imam's letters and his lectures, we see there's none other like him who understand the depths of the Holy Quran. And he really brought into life the hadith of the Prophet where he said, I am the city of knowledge and Ali is the gate. So not only did he possess the knowledge, but he practiced it too. Not only did he practice it, but he taught it to others. So in conclusion, we started with a verse that said that those who know are not equal to those who do not know. Usually, when we talk about Islamic concept and justice, we don't talk about equality, we talk about equity. Equity meaning that everything in its rightful place, whereas equal being, they are equal. For example, if I have two sons, one is this tall and one is this tall, I give them equal size clothes. That's called equality. Equity would mean I give him the right size for him, the right size for him. This is justice. Now for us, we understand and we know the significance of Amir al-Mu'mineen. How are we going to implement that in our lives? We know about the Ahl al-Bayt. How are we going to implement that in our lives? We know about all of these facets of his life. How are we going to implement that in our time, in our lives? We're at the workplace, we're in school, we're in university. This is our battlefield. How are we going to deal with that in our lives? When people ask us difficult questions, how are we going to deal with that? So particularly to our youth, I would say that know your potential. Know that you are the followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Don't be in ghafla, don't be in negligence. Wake up. You are the children of Amir al-Mu'mineen, you're the followers of the Ahlul Bayt. Don't leave your worship and practice your worship on time. This is the beginning of your journey towards Islam, the servitude of Islam. As we saw, Imam Ali from birth, he's presented as somebody who's going to serve Islam. We have to start that in our lives. We should learn to be real men, like Imam Ali. When it's time to fight, we fight. When it's time to be compassionate, we're compassionate. It's very difficult for some men. If they're brutes throughout. We say, no, we have role models that teach us. On the battlefield, we behave like this, and in our homes, we behave like this.
برائے خوشنودی امیر المومنین امام المتقین علی ابن ابی طالب علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام بلند تر
So knowing and not knowing, the verse in the Quran is saying it's not equal. So we have to try hard to learn and to acquire knowledge. And the acquisition of knowledge, brothers and sisters, is not just simply reading a book or sitting in front of a teacher. We have a particular way of learning knowledge. Still, our parents will teach us to respect our teachers. Even if they're Kafir teachers, respect our teachers. This is the Islamic way. So we acquire knowledge, but we put that alongside with piety, with taqwa. We want to be pious and learn, because people who learn knowledge, they can also misuse that knowledge. But we, alongside with piety, we're acquiring this knowledge so that we can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One salawat, please. We've seen many problems created for the Muslims, and particularly the Shia, and we have to be able to respond to these problems that have been raised. Because we are the lovers of Amir al-Mu'mineen, we have to work on the foundations of our worship. We have to work on finding out what is Tawheed. If that is the cornerstone, if that is the magic component, what is it? Let me learn about Tawheed. Let me build my foundation. We have to do this sincerely, with ikhlas. Sincerely for the servitude of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We read in Surah Fatiha every day in every namaz, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You alone do we worship, you alone do we turn to for help. In the end, brothers and sisters, we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us all, to allow us to walk in the footsteps of our beloved Imam, to aspire to become like him and to gain the attributes that he had. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive each and every one of us, our family members, our deceased, of their great sins and their small sins. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us